Hi, this is Michael Rubin, and the last time we've been working on positions, and now the question is, how do you use the circle of fifths to help you understand positions? Or really, it's about naming the positions. What number relates to what key on which harmonica? So let's look at the circle of fifths. So you see that it looks kind of like a clock, and there's 12 spots. It's coincidental that there's 12 notes on the keyboard and 12 clocks on the 12 spots on the clock, but perhaps some numerologist has an explanation for it. In any case, lucky for us. So if you see, C is in the midnight spot, and 1's in the G's in the 1 o'clock spot, and D is in the 2 o'clock spot, etc. So this is important for understanding positions. So last time we took a C harmonica and we played O Susanna in the key of C, and two of the ways we knew it was in the key of C is it kept returning to the C note, but also I used notes that were in the C major scale. Now there's other scales besides the C major scale, but as long as those scales relate to the key of C, you're in the key of C. So then I said I wanted to play in another key on the C harmonica, and I said this was possible because once you learn how to bend and overblow, you have all the notes that are on a keyboard. So if a keyboardist can play in any key, so can a harmonica player. So the next key I tried was the key of G on my C harp. And so I said, well, what's the first note in O Susanna in the key of C? Well, it's one blow, C. So if I'm going to play in the key of G, I should start on the G note. So I found a G note in 2 draw. And every note that I played after the G note had the same relationship to the note G as measured by the amount of keyboard notes between them as the notes in the melody of O Susanna in the key of C had to the note C. So the amount of keyboard notes between the root note or the key note to the melody note being played remained the same. And the harmonica did this for me. I could move my mouth in the same way on both harps, and it changed the notes that were in the harp for me. Well, if you look at the circle of fifths, let's put our finger on the C note. That's playing in the key of C on a C harmonica is called first position. Well, if you move clockwise one time, look at that, it's the key of G. So playing in the key of G on a C harmonica is second position. If you move clockwise from there, the key of D on a C harmonica is third position. Clockwise from there, key of A is fourth position. So there's 12 positions, one for every key. So F would be 12th position on a C harp. Well, the next thing I did, I took a G harmonica and I said, let's play O Susanna on my G harp in the key of G. So I wanted to play first position, so I moved my mouth on my G harmonica the same way I moved my mouth on my C harmonica when I wanted to play in the key of C. So to play in the key of G on my G harp, I move my mouth the same way that I do on my C harp for the key of C. Now, if I move my mouth the same way that I did for second position on the key of C, I would start on 2 draw. So the question is, what's the name of the note in 2 draw? And that will tell us what key I'm in. Well, it happens to be a D note. And if you look at the circle of fifths and put your finger on G, you're on a G harmonica, that's first position. Move clockwise one time, that's second position, the key of D. So the name of the position, both the number and what key you're in, depending on what harmonica you have, relates to the circle of fifths. And how many times clockwise have you gone from the root key, or the key of the harmonica? Now the trouble is that the key of the harmonica, that's first position. So as you move clockwise one time, that's second position. As you move clockwise again, that's third position. So moving clockwise 2 times will get you 3rd position. So it's a little bit of a mind bender. Okay. Now, I want to talk about a misconception that people have with positions. And you might have heard that first position creates folky sounding music or major sounding music, and second position creates bluesy music, and third position creates minor music. Well, that may be true in that first position lays out very easily for major, and second position lays out very easily for blues, and third for minor. But it is an overgeneralization. Because we have every note that a keyboard has on our harmonica, if we know how to choose notes that will sound bluesy, then I can play first position in bluesy, or minor, or major, whichever one. I can play any position in either a major feeling, a minor feeling, or a bluesy feeling, or any feeling that has been played in music around the world, as long as we have, as long as we're using notes from the Western scale in that feeling of music. The Eastern scales, it's they work on those quarter tones. It's a little different. So it is an overgeneralization to say that first position is for major, second is for blues, and third is for minor. So, the next thing we're going to work on is let's say a band says, let's play in the key of G, and you want to play second position, figuring out how to use the circle of fifths to help you do that. And then we're going to start learning how to do some jamming on the harmonica by talking about how to find scales on the diatonic harmonica. All right, see you soon.